Welcome to Lingua Wire English B1. Today, we have two stories, one about talks to stop the war in the Middle East, and another about a secret Russian submarine operation near the UK. Follow us to practice your English every day with the latest episode. For transcripts and comprehension quizzes, visit linguawire.com. I'm here with Sarah, Lingua Wire's international affairs correspondent. Sarah, what is happening now with the ceasefire talks in the Middle East?
Hello, Daniel. Right now, there are talks happening in Pakistan between the United States and Iran. They want to stop the war, but it is very difficult. Both sides want peace, but they do not trust each other. Also, Israel has increased its attacks on Lebanon, which makes the situation worse.
What is new today in these talks?
The new thing is that the talks are focusing on reopening the Strait of Hormuz. This is a very narrow waterway where many ships pass every day. Iran closed it during the war, and reopening it is very important for the world economy. Both sides want to solve this problem quickly.
Why is it so hard for the two sides to agree?
They have very different ideas. The US has a 15-point plan, but some parts sound like they want Iran to give up completely. Iran has its own 10-point plan with demands the US has said no to before. There is no trust, and the problems are very big.
Why does this matter to people outside the Middle East?
It matters because the Strait of Hormuz is very important for oil and gas. If it stays closed, the world economy will suffer. Also, many countries want peace to avoid more fighting and problems. The talks could help end the war or make it worse if they fail.
What could happen next if the talks do not work?
If they fail, the war could start again or get worse. Without any agreement, both sides might return to fighting, but even a small agreement to keep talking would be a positive step. The world is watching closely.
Is there anything surprising or interesting about these talks?
Yes, the talks are happening in Pakistan, a country not directly involved in the war. Pakistan is acting as a middleman to help both sides talk. Also, social media is full of videos from Iran making fun of Donald Trump, showing how complex the situation is.
How do the leaders involved see the war now?
US President Donald Trump is already speaking about the war as if it is over. He says the US has won and wants to leave the war soon. Iran's government is still strong but has suffered a lot. They want to use the talks to get stronger again.
Thank you, Sarah. This gives us a clear picture of the difficult situation in the Middle East. Now I'm joined by Adam, Lingua Wire's security correspondent. Adam, what is the latest about the Russian submarine operation near the UK?
Hi, Daniel. The UK Defense Secretary John Healey said that 3 Russian submarines did a secret operation near the UK's coast. They were near undersea cables and pipelines that carry internet and energy. The UK sent a warship and aircraft to watch and stop any bad actions.
What is new today about this operation?
Today, Healey said that 1 Russian submarine left UK waters after being watched. But 2 special spy submarines stayed to continue their activity. The UK says there is no damage to its cables or pipelines so far.
Why are these undersea cables and pipelines so important?
They are very important because about 90% of the UK's internet traffic goes through these cables. Also, pipelines carry energy like gas. If these cables or pipelines are damaged, it could cause big problems for communication and energy supply.
Why does the UK think Russia is doing this?
The UK says Russia is watching and possibly trying to threaten the UK's infrastructure. Defense Secretary Healey called this activity malign, meaning harmful or bad. He warned Russia that any damage would have serious consequences.
How did Russia respond to these claims?
The Russian embassy in London denied the claims. They said Russia is not threatening the UK's important underwater infrastructure. According to Russia's news agency TASS, they said they are not using aggressive words about this issue.
What could happen next in this situation?
The UK will continue to watch the submarines closely. If Russia tries to damage the cables or pipelines, the UK says it will respond strongly. This situation shows how important and sensitive underwater infrastructure has become for national security.
Is there anything unusual about the submarines involved?
Yes, one of the submarines was an Akula class, which is an attack submarine. It left UK waters after being watched. The other two were special Googie spy submarines. These are used for secret missions like watching cables underwater.
Thank you, Adam. This is a reminder of how modern security includes the ocean floor as well. Let's look back at some useful words from today's first story about the Middle East talks. The theme is negotiation and conflict. First word, ceasefire. This means a temporary stop to fighting in a war. In the story, both sides want a ceasefire to stop the war and talk. For example, the soldiers agreed to a ceasefire for 1 week. Second word, demand. A demand is something one side asks for strongly. Iran's plan had demands that the US did not accept. For example, the workers made demands for better pay. Third word, regroup. This means to rest and prepare again after a difficult time. Iran wants time to regroup after damage from the war. For example, after the long hike, we stopped to regroup before continuing. Now for the second part, let's learn a useful phrase from the second story. The phrase is no evidence. No evidence means there is no proof or signs that something happened. The UK said there is no evidence of damage to its cables. You use this phrase when you want to say something is not true or not proven. For example, there is no evidence that he broke the rules, or the police found no evidence at the crime scene. That's all for today's language recap. Follow Lingua Wire for the latest daily episode and build your daily language habit with us.